Hello and welcome to Teach Me English. This is your host Muhammad Sanaul Ansari, and today we have a topic, A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. It is a romantic poem, and the poem has the beauty that you can even feel after reading it and understanding it. Let us proceed further and know about the poet first, then about the poem. John Keats, romantic lyric poet. That we have other poets also in the romantic era, like William Wordsworth, a great name. He was born in the year 1795 in London, though he lost his parent in his very early age. This is also one of the reasons that he died even very early. Okay, so he was a student of medicine. Even he had apprenticed to a surgeon, but his full inclination was towards literature, And in fact, he had devoted himself to the perfection of poetry. And his poetry has what? Vivid imagery that you would feel, we would see, we would understand when we would learn or read his poetry. We would understand this thing. Okay, now he wrote sonnets, odes, and even epics, and all are very beautiful works if you would go through. Now, here I have taken some of his important works like Lamia, On a Grecian Urn, Ode to Skylark, Ode to Autumn, and this Hyperion, and this one, Endymion. It is the source of this poem. That is, we are doing today A Thing of Beauty. Means A Thing of Beauty is an excerpt taken from Endymion. The poet died at the age of 25 only, and that is because of tuberculosis. At that time, there was no cure of tuberculosis exactly. Let us now understand the word meanings of the poem. The first word is bower, and bower means some pleasant shady place under a tree where you sit and you get the cool air and you feel relaxed. Morrow means the following day, the next day, or tomorrow. Wreathing means that is weaving something in a circular manner, that is encircle. Spite, it is not in spite, it is only spite, which means that is you desire to offend or annoy someone. You desire to harm someone. Then despondence. It means disheartened, where you have no hope, lack of hope, hopelessness. Then noble, a very simple word, a good quality, that is a superior quality. Pall means a cloud, a dark cloud that covers your happiness, that covers your life of happiness and turns into a life of gloom and sadness. Next is spirits. You can understand souls, where emotion and character lies. Then is sprouting. Sprouting means that is developing, suddenly developing in more and more. It does not stop, it goes on developing. Shady boon means a shade which become boon, which become helpful, which become grace for someone. Rills means the flowing water of a river. Then covert means that is not openly known, which is not disclosed to anyone, which is actually hidden. That's called covert. Then that is grandeur means it is to impress or threaten. Dooms means the last day, the day of judgment, when God will be the only ruler. Immortal means living forever, no death, for the person or for anything. Heaven's brink means here the door of God's home, that is from the heaven, something falls down like some dewdrop which gives you the immortal life. Next is the literary terms. The most important literary term used in the poem is the metaphor. And metaphor is a comparison between two unlike objects. In metaphor, we don't use these words. This as or like, these two words are used in making similes, not in metaphor. So we don't have this, but there is a comparison. Okay, like for example, the first one, a thing of beauty. The first line of the poem, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. So here what the poet has done, he has compared beauty to joy. Okay, beauty to joy, he has compared. A flowery band, again there is a what called metaphor. How? See, you see flowers in the garland are compared to all the beautiful things or objects of the nature. The poet wants to make a garland of all the beauties of the nature. Immortal drink. What is immortal drink? Immortal drink again is here a metaphor. How? See, beautiful objects of nature here are compared to magical potion that gives you life forever. Hyperbaton. What? Where you show that something is inversely used, means not in a proper grammatical order. For example, here, are we reading? When we go to the poem, we would see, are we reading? It must be used as we are reading, but in the poem it is used as are we reading. This is done only for the sake of emphasis, so that the reader's mind or reader's eyes would go there, because when we speak something in a general grammatical tone, so it doesn't affect us so much. As we alter the grammatical tone somewhat, so it affects us. For example, if I say that a hermit lives on the hill, this is a general sentence, but if I change it a bit, for example, on the hill lives a hermit, so here, since I am breaking it, so it affects the reader's mind a lot. Next we have here antithesis. What is antithesis? Means two opposite words and they are put side by side. This is, see, trees old and young. Old and young, both are opposite words and they have come side by side, so this is called antithesis. And this all things, generally most of the literary terms we use for the sake of emphasis. Next we have here imagery. The poet has described the whole scenario of the nature with the help of imagery. Now see, here we have what? A flowery band. It's an image of garland. As you can see, when you hear the word flowery band, the image of garland would appear in your eyes. It's a visual imagery. Now, daffodils with the green world. So you can see that greenery is everywhere and golden daffodils, they are dancing. So it's again what called visual imagery. Now, clear rills. Again, there's flowing river, you can see in your eyes, in your senses. Now, musk rose blooms. And here what we have, it is a tactile, means you start smelling, you start feeling something, and that smell you feel like a smell of musk, you would start imagining at that time. And we have immortal drink. This could be understood only. It's called sensual imagery. Many imageries are used in this poem. Alliteration. What we have in alliteration? Repetition of consonant sound at the beginning of the word. Like for example, beginning of the word be here and bind be. Repetition is happening. B, ba, band and bind. B sound is there, and both the alphabets are what? Consonant. Next, despondence. D, and here d, the d sound. Similarly, here noble and nature, same na sound, and here some and shape, same sound is coming out. Now let us enter into the word of this poem. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. I have already explained that it is a metaphor. Okay, the poet has compared what? This thing of beauty to joy. How? See, anything which is beautiful, okay, when we see something which is very beautiful, we enjoy. We all enjoy seeing the beautiful thing. If you see a beautiful flower, if you see sometimes beautiful birds, if you see sometimes beautiful clouds, or if sometimes we see beautiful girls, even we enjoy. That is a source of eternal joy and pleasure. Any object of nature which we see, that we keeps in our mind. And whenever we feel sad, if we think about those views, those beautiful objects of nature, we definitely at that time get elated, we feel happy. So here those beautiful things are the source of joy. So the poet has compared that the beauty, things of beauty is a joy forever. Okay, and please keep in mind, the poet does not mean only the beautiful lady, but any object of nature that fills our heart with bliss, with happiness. Any object of nature that gives us pleasure, that gives us happiness, all the objects are things of beauty. Now, then he said, its loveliness increases, it will never. What happens? Its loveliness increases, means loveliness means charm, its charmness, its power of attraction. Okay, its power of attraction, what happens? It increases. You will never feel bored on the lap of nature. You will always enjoy whenever you are in gloom and sad mood. If you visit the nature, the open nature created by the God, okay, that nature, if you visit, you will definitely feel peace in your mind, happiness in your heart. So that's why it is mentioned here. Its loveliness means its charmness, its power of attraction increases. Okay, it always increases, it never decreases. It will never pass into nothingness. Means that charmness, that attraction, that beauty of the objects of nature will never what? Will never pass into nothingness, means never cease to grow. It will always grow, it will always increase, it will never stop. It, because it is eternal till this earth is there, till the doomsday, but will keep above means a pleasant shady place under some tree, where if there is intense heat, if there is the heat of the summer, you can understand how the condition in summer happens. So at that time, if we get a tree where we can get some shade, so when we sit in the shade, what happens? We feel cool at the time, we feel peace in our mind. So that power is also a part of the beauty of nature. We just run to achieve something, to get something in our life. Okay, and when we get tired, we want to take a rest. This busy life is like the heat of the sun. That what it does, it exhausts us, it takes all our energy. So we get some shade under the tree, and if we sit there, we feel relaxed, we feel calm, we feel quiet, and that serene environment, that ambience, that beautiful ambience, that beautiful environment gives us new life. And sleep full of sweet dreams. And once we feel relaxed, and once we feel calm and quiet in our mind, and once our heart is filled with pleasure and happiness, we get a sleep, and that is full of dreams. Dreams and nightmare, two words are here. Dreams is a symbolism of a peaceful sleep, a beautiful sleep, where we see something in our vision which we like. A nightmare is again a kind of dream where we get afraid seeing something in our vision at night. Okay, so I'm not talking about nightmare. Whenever we use the word like sweet dreams, it means this is a vision which we would like to see, which we would like to fulfill in our life. That's why the word sweet dream is used. So a sleep full of sweet dreams. So here, all this thing a comparison. Thing of beauty is like the bower. Thing of beauty is like a sleep full of sweet dreams. And health and quiet breathing. If we get a sound sleep, we would definitely get good health also. Okay, and then even there is use what called quiet breathing, means calm and satisfactory. Quiet breathing, the meaning of quiet breathing is calm and satisfactory. Means when you sleep, you feel you sleep with not the mind which is always awakened, which is busy, which is afraid of something. You sleep a peaceful sleep. A sweet dream would come to you, and you would enjoy your sleep with good health. These are what a thing of beauty gives us then. Therefore, on every morrow means next day, means on every tomorrow, because today night you sleep, tomorrow you will awake. So that is what therefore on every morrow means every next day, the following day. Are we reading? That's why I told you here hyperbaton is used. Are we reading, covering or to encircle? Here what happened? Are we reading what? Means we are reading, we are covering, or we are making a circular something. What is that? A flowery band to bind us to the earth. Here the poet, what the poet wants to explain us, understand this thing. The poet wants to explain us that are we reading? It means we are making a circular thing. Of what? A flowery band. So here, are we reading means are we making a circular flowery band to bind us to the earth, means to attach us to the earth. Now here you understand the meaning carefully. In this sentence also metaphor is used, this flowery band. How? Flowers are compared to all the things of beauty. Remember, all the things of beauty. Every morning what happened? We recollect all the things of beauty that we have in our mind and see around us. Every morning we get up and we think about our dream, we think about our past things and we recollect them. Okay, whatever we have seen or whatever we have in our mind already. What we do? We bind them together like the flowery band to fill our lives with fragrance of joy. Like a band of flowers is made with many beautiful flowers. Similarly, all our memories, all our beautiful memories are like the flower. That what we do every morning, we bind it together so that we can look into our memory, we can think about our past beautiful days and all those beautiful things, and we feel happy. We come out of our sadness. The poet wants to say that the life is full of sadness. A life is full of dissatisfaction, disheartening. So we need all these things to keep us going in our life, because this thing would balance between the sadness and the happiness, and our life would go easily. Spite here means desire to do harm to someone. A spite of despondence means that you desire to do harm to someone so that the person would be disheartened and hopeless. This is one of the evil nature. Of the inhuman death, death means lack. Of the inhuman death, death of what? Death of noble nature, means lack of noble character or men. There are even people who have no nobility in them. Of the gloom means of the dark days, of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways made for our searching. What does he mean? When we are on search for prosperity, when we want to search a good life for us, boon for life means a kind of happiness for a life, a kind of grace for a life, we face difficulties and challenges. The meaning of this line, over darkened ways made for our searchings. Whenever we try to search, whenever we try to look for a good life, whenever we attempt to get a good life, we are always chased by difficulties and challenges. And those difficulties and challenges, they try to make our life hell and they disturb us. Yes, and in spite of all, and in spite of the evil character, and in spite of the gloom that is the dark days, and in spite of those people who want to harm us, and in spite of all this, some shape of beauty moves away the pall. Some shape of beauty means the images of those beauty, the memory of those beauty which we have in our mind is stored. What it does, it moves away the pall, that is, it removes the dark cloud, the cloud of sadness which appears on our happy life. But when we start thinking about the beautiful things in our mind which we have seen, the beauty of nature, those dark clouds get disappear. From our dark, dull spirit, because of the sadness in our mind, because of the grief in our life, our spirit become dull for some time. Means our souls become dull for some time because of those dark clouds. But the things of beauty, when we think about it, those things, what it does, it removes those dark clouds of sadness. And it fills our heart again with pleasure and mind with peace. Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young. I don't have to explain this thing. These are the images. These are the things of beauties in nature. Sun, the moon, trees old and young, means developing. There are some trees which are old, some trees which are young, some trees which are developing. And what it does is sprouting a shady moon. Okay? So when our heart become dull, when our life become dull, so what we do, we take the shade of the nature. And that nature, what it does, it gives us boon. A shady boon means a shade of blessings. It's called a shady boon, a shade of blessings. For simple sheep means innocent people. Innocent. I don't know whether you have read or not William Blake's the poem which is called The Tiger and the Sheep. And actually what happens here, the poet has compared tigers, nature, and the nature of the sheep to the nature of Jesus Christ. Yet he has both sheep, innocent, tiger experience. For simple, sheep means innocent people. What does the poet mean to explain here? The things of beauty are blessings, mean shady boons. Shady boons are what? Things of beauty. A blessing that heaven means protect the innocent people from being saddened. So things of beauty, it provides pleasure to those people who are innocent. When they fall under the shade of the sadness, when they become prey of the despondence, of the evil nature, of the gloom's day, of the difficulties and challenges in life, the things of beauty, it acts as the shady boon. It provides a shade of happiness. It protects them from being saddened and live a life of happiness. And such are daffodils. Even daffodils are also the example of the things of beauty. With the green world they live in. Okay. Now here you see, daffodils are celebrated as the flower of gay and beauty. Gay means happiness and beauty, understand? The golden color of daffodils, surrounded by the greenery, is the sight of incessant romance and joy. Never-ending romance, never-ending joy. When you see the beauty in the greenery, the golden daffodils are dancing, fluttering, and enjoying the breeze, that view would remain in your mind, would come in your mind as a bliss, and that would give life to you whenever you fall prey of sadness. That for themselves are cooling covered, means hidden coolness or blessing in disguise. These views of golden daffodils, of the sun, the moon, the old and the young trees, all these things are what? Are cooling covered, are hidden disguise. Okay, that would come in your mind, that would reside in your mind. Those things would flash in your vision, inward eyes, and you would enjoy. Against the hot season, again the hot season means that is same thing, adversity or bad time. The poet here again has used antithesis. Whenever we feel adversity or bad time in our life, the things of beauty, it acts as a cover or a cave under which we feel secure, we feel calm, we feel relaxed. The mid-forest brake means fern or bushes. The mid-forest brake, that means in the forest, In the middle of the forest, you will find many bushes, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. Those bushes are rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. I understand this thing. Among the ferns and bushes, means in the forest, in the middle of the forest, there are many bushes and ferns. Among those ferns and bushes, what happened? The musk rose blooms. Okay, it comes to life and dominates the place with its fragrance. So when the forest is covered with bushes, which has no beauty in it, in that bushes, what appears? The beautiful musk rose. And that musk rose cover the whole place with its beauty and with its fragrance. So the things of beauty are like the musk rose. When you are surrounded by your difficulties and challenges in life, those things of beauty will give you the fragrance of joy. And such too is the grandeur of the tombs. Not only these objects on the earth which we could see would give only the happiness. The doomsday grandeur means the greatness. The greatness of dooms means the last day of existence, though that doomsday is also a great day. And knowing about the doomsday would also give you happiness. Would you get the happiness? No. Doomsday would be a day of happiness for those for whom we have imagined for the mighty dead. According to him, mighty dead means here dead heroes, warriors, and martyrs. So, according to the poet, Doomsday would be the beautiful day and the day of happiness for mighty dead, for those people who died for the cause of their country, who died for the cause of the humanity. According to the poet, the view of the doomsday will be also appealing and pleasing for the believers and the martyr. Those who believe in the existence of God, doomsday would be a day of happiness. All lovely tales that we have heard or read, lovely tales about the stories about the martyr, about the heroes, about the God, about Jesus Christ, an endless fountain of immortal drink. Again here the metaphor is used now. Beautiful objects of nature are forever. Till the doomsday, the earth will survive. Till that day, the beauty of the nature will be there as it is. Means it is forever, eternal. Like the magical potion which gives life to you forever. Similarly, these beautiful objects of nature is like the magic potion which gives you pleasure forever. That's why the poet is used an endless fountain of immortal drink. The beautiful objects of nature are like the immortal drink. Once you drink it, you become immortal, you won't die, your existence would be always forever on this earth. Similarly, the thing of beauty is like the immortal drink that would never end. Pouring onto us from the heaven spring. The immortal drink is like a dewdrop that comes from the heavens. Heavens here has two meaning. Heaven even means the sky, but here it means directly the house of God. The honeydew pours down from the sky, general meaning. But internal meaning is what? That is, things of beauty are the rare gifts of God. That is why it is used here. They gives us the reason to live on this earth despite all the pains and suffering. So this things of beauty are like the honeydew. And that honeydew which has come from the house of God, and if you drink that dew once, you will live forever, your joy will be forever. So the things of beauty have the same value. They give you the joy forever. They give you the pleasure forever and peace forever. I hope that you all have understood this poem. According to the poet, these things are the cause for our suffering and pain. To overcome our suffering and pain, or to overcome these evil things, the poet has mentioned these things of beauty. When we think about these things of beauty, we actually forget about those things of suffering. So go through the poem seriously, watch the video carefully, and also read the PDF which would be given in the description box. Today, keep till here, and I hope we would meet again with another video. Till then, goodbye. Thank you very much.